Okay, I was interrupted, but I'm back for the last part, I hope, of the scherzo, or at least a lot of the last part of the scherzo of the Prokofiev Sixth Sonata. So we were, based on my markings, around measure 118 or so. I had been working on getting a decent fingering in the left hand that matched the decent fingering in the right hand. So crossing or letting my arm deliver the third finger to C sharp at 118 from 5 to 3. Oh yes. And I made a decision about the fingering for this chord on 119. I'm going to do one twice. That gets me to one on top. Then I can continue holding on to the top E flat. This is good. So obviously I don't have the right fingering for my right hand. There we go. Now it's completely arbitrary. I want something better than that. Let me see if I learned anything from the preceding. That doesn't help. Oh, maybe it does. There was thumb on E, and then I tossed it B flat. Well, if I did that here, and put thumb on E as I did before, it would get me fine, just fine to E, but not very well beyond that. Ideally, I'd like thumb here. Well, I could do 5, 4, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Not the most comfortable thing on earth, but actually, it's a trade-off between doing that and just tossing my thumb. So let me put it this way. I rather don't mind it. It's not great, but putting the thumb in the previous measure, turning on E, is really important for me to get to the top on fifth, and then open my hand up to use up all the fingers. That's good. Okay, I've run out of finger there. Let's assume that the top finger is going to be a fifth finger, so I'm going to work backwards. So if I go 3 on E and thumb on G, let's see. How nice. Working backwards does have its benefits. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I have this. I have position 1 and position 2. Unexpected, because normally the tendency we all have, which is natural, is to turn back to the thumb after a black note. In this case, by delaying that by 1, I have the chromatic, and then the ninth. Okay. Plenty of time for the 1 to shift to the 5 on 120. So for the decisions I've made. So I had time this time to think about the altered fingering in the right hand on the way up, 1, 2, 4. fact that you have an 8-note scale on the way up and a 9-note scale on the way down. So you use fourth finger one extra time. It's that kind of thing here, that I'm going up. Don't you just love recollections of other experiences that sort of solidify your understanding of the concept? That's what it felt like today. Okay, so what I have to tell myself is what's counterintuitive. Is to go to 3 here, play a 3-note chromaticism. And that's all it takes. Okay, and that whole note holds. Interestingly enough, I found myself not doing at all what I wrote. And so, once again, my body wins out over my thoughtfulness. 1, 2, 3, 5. So it just happens to work out better for me. 5 to 1, 1 is probably better for a lot of people. We have here. So I have, and then the left-hand answer is upside down. That's great. In 120, last beat, or last half beat. I'm going to grab E flat, first inversion with 4, then 5, sets up the next chord well. Nice. Probably 2, 3. Not as comfortable for a white note. Going to a black note and then back scalar in a scalar fashion as I can think of. Okay, based on the small detail that Prokofiev asks me in 122 to hold a half note and move the bass in quarters. If I go to 1, 3, which I was originally doing, 1, 2 on E flat G, and then 1, 3, I have a very awkward reach with 1, 3 pinning my hand down. So I'm going to use 1, 2 twice in a row instead. So 1, 2, 1, 2. That makes it easier on the walking left hand. Now I'm going to continue to use fifth finger one more time, because there's no time and no convenience in shifting earlier. So I'm going to go 5 to 5 to 5. Then I'll shift my hand. Whoops. Then it's very easy to go to 2 at that point. And 2, 3, 4 walks right down to the bottom. I'm going to have to work on fingering. It's obvious that this session has turned into, more than anything else, a fingering session, which is good. I really enjoy finding fingerings, even if I change my mind. I love puzzles, and fingering is puzzles, especially when the net result is a sort of satisfying sense of physical and oral connection to what you were looking for. That even if you don't nail the solution totally, there's a strong sense that you have a core idea and a core sense of ease and dependability that you're going to be able to develop when you drill it. Good, very good. Let's see about getting to. something that I would have to do, but right now I'm hyper aware that showing my traces is very useful for me. Even in things that I would consider I can assume, because a lot of things you assume fly right out the window. In other words, they are so obvious that they become unseen. So I'm going to do 5-3 on top, 5-4, and then a 1-1 fingering for white notes here. So okay, that may not be workable the next time. It's not undoable, but if I go to in 23, 24, 25, 126, I play the lower second with my thumb and then have to clear the way. That's awful fancy shenanigans. Interesting. Besides, if I just use the convenient fingering for what happens afterwards, I'd go to 4-3, which is odd as can be. That's a lot of moving around. Okay, I'm going to write down 4-3. I'm not 100% happy about it. It's simple, but it's an unexpected choice of fingers. It's exclusively, I'm doing it exclusively because of where I'm going, not because of where I'm coming from, which is the one thing that makes me feel its oddness. If I go to 4-3, then of course that would remind me that that's where I'm going down below. You know what, that's what I'm going to do. The 4-3 up top will signal the 4-3 down below, and there's a symmetry there. In the first version, I'm pairing the 5-4 with the 1-1. In the second one, I'm pairing 4-3 with 4-3. I like it. Fun. Okay, left hand has a noodly arpeggio. Well, it's the same thing that we had in the right hand before, but that doesn't help my fingering. I know it's, having recognized it, it's B flat to E major, back to B flat. From 5 to 3 on 126, 3 on B flat. There's an interesting place in the Revolutionary Etude of Chopin where some people suggest that you toss from 1 to 3, 5, a rather open arpeggio to a third finger, and I love doing that. That's when I first probably ever used that particular choreography. And I like it a lot. You notice it's very easy. I don't have to look because the gesture comes, and the security comes from a combination of a simple arm gesture and a long finger being delivered to a black note, and that black note happens to have good profile. In other words, there's no leading black notes around it, so it's on the cutting side of the 3 black notes. That makes it quite convenient. Okay, now let's do this. As hard as I thought, if I consider 1, 2, 4s. This is tailor-made for comfort, and 2 more root positions at 1, 2, 4. So, and 4th finger on the G major, and 4th finger on the E major. G major, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2. And then shift. Maybe. Different on top. It's chromatic. Oh, that's right. So it's 1, 2, 1. How do I get to the bottom? Like going down 1, 2, 4 and then shifting my whole hand over to 1 through to 5, 3 because it gives me this root position B flat arpeggio, and then I'm able to yes shift 3, 5. Again, I have no idea what the tempo is now. That's not relevant. It's that it's fluid. I know it's a slower tempo, it's a minimal, so yodel, maybe, it's piano and espressivo, 1, 2, and it's in 4 rather than in 2, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, so if that's here. When the left hand reiterates its bass note, that's when I'm going to shift my right hand fingering to set up the next chord. So I'm on thumb, then I'm on 1 and 2. I'm going to go to 3, 2. Okay, now we have fancy octave displacements, a few other changes, a fun rhythm. Instead of fifths, it's octave, and it's a fifth instead of the sixth, but it's similar. Okay, what else is interesting? First chord, although it's an octave higher, is the same, but that's the alto voice. Here's the tenor voice, and here's the tenor voice. Here's the alto voice. Talk about wrong note composer. He's gone out of his way to simply put in seconds there. It's easy to keep track of because it's consistent. It's all within E major. Fingering wise, this is the most awkward one, I think. The ones that go, these ones I like the best, the ones that have 2 on a black note, even though 5th is on a black note and 1 on a white note. So second chord, my favorite. First chord is all white notes, it's okay. Worst chord or hardest chord is the 4th one, which either involves going 1, 2, 5, scrunched together, or maybe 2, 3, 5. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to opt for my comfort. So 1, 2, 5, 1, 2, 5. I'm also going to consider going from 4 on the one that has F sharp is the melody note. So 5 to 4 to 5 to 5 to 4. And that's not consistent though. I'm also giving up some of the comfort that, well, that's fine. Interesting, what I'm thinking, let me think out loud, is that if I go 5, 4, 5, 5, 3, 2, 4, then this chord, C sharp, D sharp, G sharp, is playing 1, 2, being played with 1, 2, 4, and I play it with 1, 2, 5 in the first measure. So, is that physically confusing? The answer is to be determined. Now I'm even experimenting with going 5, 3, 2 on these 3 black notes. Okay, well, the reason I'm going to end up with 5, 2, 1 on the second downbeat, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 132, is that makes this particular figure oscillating between the C sharp and the G sharp below. If I play 5, 3, 2, it's harder to get back to the E. So by having 5, 2, 1 here, I got 2 on D sharp, and the third finger is right there on E with a slight tilt of the hand and arm. So for that reason, I want to go to 5, 2. Now, how do I get there? Okay. I am going to choose then to make the third chord 5, 2, 1 in recognition of going back to it. That's what I'm going to do. Fifth finger glued to the keyboard, I can just swing. I can pivot around it, so I'm going 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3. That's fine. Meanwhile, boy, in a way it would have been so much easier if he had asked for all of the notes in the arpeggio, but he chooses to ask for first inversion E major, third position E major, 2 octaves down. Makes for a very odd sensation. So I'm experimenting. 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 5. When we first had this figure before, it was in C major, which is much harder because it's all white notes. So here at least we get a natural undulation of the topography. So, hearing my G sharp is in the speaking, that is some odd writing. Okay, make it real odd. To play the last 4 notes in one hand group, but the problem is in getting to it, I'm tending to lurch to my thumb. But there's something to be said for the 2, 3, 5 on the bottom. You know, there's something delicious about that. Makes me really curious to see if that's... No. That's not possible in the first one because he's isolated those chords so much from one another. There's an 11th between those 2 middle sets. Here, It was only a sixth, so I kind of like that. I'm going to put it down as a possibility. Now, if I can make it not blurp the way it's currently blurping. It's pianissimo. So it's either 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 4 twice works okay. Do this, but I'm going to show that I'm of two minds. I am putting down two different fingers. I think, even though I think this is unusual and fun, 1, 2, 4 twice, for me, is currently sounding and feeling more even, and it's aided by the fact that I'm turning my hand slightly on the second octave. Stick with it. Oh. Okay, maybe I'll need to know some. I have to go down and up in the 1, 2, 3, 4, third measure. Shame. So this is one of those things where it's almost a waste of time not to play for memory. Tilt of my hand, I really need to adjust the tilt to the left, back toward the center. Yes. Okay. Let's go on. The sort of thing where I cannot trust that my ear can tell me what's right, so I have to stare. So it's an E major plus the added note. What I often do, notationally speaking, is I'll put the added note in parentheses, just so I know that if I go for what's simple, like if I think E major and add a key, it gives me a strong sense of E major. It's much more memorable than trying to define what this sonority means. So. Here on the 2, 3, 4th beat. Well, it's interesting, very interesting. He writes tempo primo. This is someone's mistake. He writes tempo primo, but he doesn't change the time signature. The time signature at the beginning was 2/2 cut time. The time signature of the meno mosso is 4/4. There's no indication that it stopped being 4/4. That's bad. That's an oversight on someone's part. Because it's tempo primo. The figuration comes out of the tempo primo section. It was in 2 there. I see no indication. So, we'll call that a mistake and just interpret it as 2/2. That's what I'm going to do. Otherwise, I risk having the quarter notes be too important. Unless that's what he intended, in which case he didn't write it. So. My choice between going 1, 2, 4, 5 and 1, 2, 4, 5, or 1, 1, 1 on 2 black white notes and then 3, 5. 1, 2, 4, 5 is going to work better because then I don't have to swivel my hand back around. I I can use 1, 2, 4, 5 twice. Again, one of these quickies. For now, strange as some of you may think, I'm going to go to 1, 2, 4 because it's the quickest thing I can find under my hand. Anything else will require more placement, but this is optimal, I think, with the long finger on the top black note, and I get it quickly. I'm going to choose, at least for now, to play this. Whoa, that's not as big as it looked. It's actually B flat, B sharp, and then B flat. So it's a much smaller chord. It's just a ninth. Why he spelled it B sharp and then B flat, I do not know. So I'm going to write C, just so I know. Pile of fourths and a third. So I have. I need to look for that one. White, one black note. And then where it goes is significant. It goes to an A major. So C natural going to C sharp. 5, 4, 2, 1. 137. 1, 2, 4. Whoa. Sorry. G sharp. That makes the fourth finger make sense. So 5 key chord, 5 note chord. Okay. Let's go. Let's see. What do we have in the left hand that's different? Still E major, and now it turns to G sharp minor. And A major. Okay, I'm just going to write these. G sharp minor, A major, F sharp minor, 6. Oh, G sharp major, G sharp minor. Alright, sneaky. Here I might change my fingering at the bottom to help signal. 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 5. Okay, I still need to know the right hand better before I can combine them together. Remember, one white, one black note. That's one of the significant elements in the feel of that chord. Okay. C natural, C sharp. Still E. This is all going to be pianissimo right now. I cannot afford to layer on that extra complexity. I need to keep it at a moderate level so I'm not fighting. Ultimately, when I want it more pianissimo, I'll be moving along the keys in the left hand more. G sharp minor. A major. One black note. Now, these are my natural pairings that I'm practicing because I have to have my right hand be able to find its way while the left hand is finishing its arpeggio. So. I think I'd rather go 2-3-5 on the B. I don't think I can. Maybe I can. Well, this is one of those cases where I could look for an alternate fingering, although being that temporarily inconsistent, I don't know if it's worth it. I could go 1-2, 1-2-3-5. No, I don't think it's worth it. Just experimenting between 2 on F sharp and thumb. Okay, I'm going to put down 1 and 2. I think I like 2 better. I'll put 2 on top. And I'm going to do it again. I have C major this time going to B. Now it's just, oh wow, is that ever a pleasure? Just to play a standard B major with no missing notes. Here, someone, Prokofiev perhaps, has actually written a finger substitution in. 2 of them. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1 and There seem to be a lot of exotic cross rhythms here, like triplets against dotted notes for 30 seconds. The most important thing from a learning perspective is where you're going. There's a flourish of energy that goes to the second beat. 1 and 2, and that's what's important. Most composers do not notate mathematically to such an extent that you would spend an inordinate amount of time trying to figure out exactly where the placements go. If your larger gestures are there, then the coordination will sound right. Is that right? No, there's only one sharp and one natural indicator, so I've got to be very careful here. I think that's it. So, okay, it's actually just like the beginning. Nice, okay, that's handy. Little flourishes. This reminds me of the high and F minor variations. A little flourish. In spite of the E sharp, goes into D major. It's diminished. That's a D major. Wonder why. Yeah. So. So I'm going 2-1, finishing it off easily enough. Well, I know why it feels odd because of that fourth finger on the bottom. There's absolutely no reason I need to play fourth finger on the bottom. It doesn't actually feel very good. So by substituting thumb, which is what I would have done, it gives me a completing gesture that makes it feel so much more familiar. That makes me feel better. Good. Let me look over that page straight. Okay. Natural fingering for F sharp minor, chord. Perfect. Okay, time to look some more details up. Left hand. There's D major with the added E. In the right hand, it's the added E sharp. What fun! Again, I'll start on fourth finger for the natural F sharp minor arpeggio fingering. Whoops. I need to remind myself I'll play second finger on the seventh on D sharp to get from D sharp to D in a fashion that makes me feel that connection. So also because I have to reverse direction, I need a gesture that will remind me that it doesn't finish at the top of my hand or the top of the passage, but rather reverses. And then a tritone in each hand. Fun. I might actually use my favorite tritone fingering, 2-5 in both hands, just for comfort. Even though it's not conveniently located where I am, I could do 3 and 1. So it's a question of, do I want the contortion of the left hand, but the convenience of placement, or do I want the comfort in the left hand, but the extra leaping? I don't know. I like the comfort. It's just fun. The two black notes together, and the turns towards one another. It's friendly. Okay, here we are, back. Fingering fell right under my hand. Fourth on F, just for the right spacing. 3 on E flat, A flat, 3 back on E flat, then shift. 1 to 5, all is good, okay. Okay, I have to mark these, 137, 8, 9, 140, 1, 2, 3, 143, I have stuff happening after all these D major chords. Grabbing them with 5, 3, 2. It's a black note on the bottom going to a white note, going to a black note, so it's tailor-made for that kind of fingering. 5, oh, how silly am I? I thought something, I said it out loud, and I wrote something different. 5, 3, 2. And then shift my hand over to 3, 1. So it's... as is my propensity, to 5, 3, 2 when I have the A major like this. It's just so much nicer for me to hang back like that than to put my thumb up there and feel that my hand is twisted. So that's a personal choice. You don't have to do that, but it's something delicious for me. So. Falls into place here in my left hand. Pinned down to the A, I go 2, 4, 1, 2 on 144. So. just because I was curious about a figure I saw in the left hand. Okay, in 148 I need 2 on G sharp. Makes that turn easy. And the next time that figure happens, on 148, 50, I'm going to use third finger instead, because then I can turn my hand over. 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's good. Okay. Glad we had this little discussion. Okay. Familiar material. I remember the fingering I used to choose. At the top, I should go back to where I first saw it in measure 18, 19, 20, 21, early on in the piece. I went 1, 3, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. There's an extra note added. Well, boy, has it changed because of the demands for extra voices. So I can't really reuse the 4, 3, 2 that I would have, I think. I think I may need to simply move my hand. Well, what I may do is actually not go with Prokofiev's suggestion. I've got all these climbing thirds, and I can happily and comfortably swing and pivot around my fifth and play all of those in the left hand, which would leave my right hand would I do it all the way? Well, you know, there's something to be said for that. It also leaves me same mistake I made last time. I chromaticized something that's not chromatic. Let's see. Let me go back. And the fourth finger was supposed to help me with that. Did it? Of course not. It will, but I'm going to have to write that sharp as a reminder. I'm going to have to write it twice. Fourth finger on B the second time, 4, 3. Nope. Design that seems to work. Even if you can't hear it, I can feel it, or I can think it, that there's a the switch of hand division, for example, and the reversion to my original fingering here is making me feel comfortable in here, if not in here. And that's step one. Whoops. Yes. was nice. This one involves a tie, a finger substitution from right to left. Kind of fancy. I may not need to do that. Let me see. There is actually no reason to do it. Take the note that the left hand is going to take, an eighth note earlier. So I go. And to make it even more comfortable, if I go the fourth finger in my left hand at the very end of 148, 950, then I have 3 and 1. It's very comfortable. And it makes my right hand readier earlier to play the chords afterwards. I don't know why he didn't do that. Of course. Fourth. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, here we are. I'm very close to my left hand here. So I have to find a comfortable way of playing this exotic D minor chord, which I rather like. Has a nice bluey tinge. I'm going to play it with a non-traditional fingering. Instead of 1-3-5 or 1-2-4, I'm going to play it 1-5-3-2 because it gets me to hang off the key this way. Keeps my left and my right hand away from one another. Here. Those notes were a little exotic at times. C major. Just make sure I've got my D sharps all in a row. C major, just in case I wasn't sure. E major. Of course, E flat would be against F major. That's how he's going to get to E major at the end. So it helps me to have notated this as C major. Because if it's not intuitive, oh, that's not right. Sorry for the tuning, that's what we put up with. How do I remember this? Let's see. These are all minor thirds. Minor thirds. I have no more convenient way of writing that than minor thirds. It really doesn't matter. Same thing goes for the left hand. How nice. Let's see what else I can find out. Well, alas, the right hand goes up by a whole step, the left hand goes down dramatically. That happens. I'll shrug my shoulders. Okay, do I want a fingering that sets up that thumb note that holds? Maybe. To 5-3-2 in the right hand and 4-2-1 and 2-4-5 in the left hand. Actually 2-3-5. That would work. Then there wouldn't be a surprise. So I'm going to use 2 and 2. Just that's the most important thing. this has been an interesting slog through this movement. On the other hand, it's been very productive as far as I'm concerned. I got some good fingerings in, I made some discoveries about the structure of it. I realize I'm going to have to pay for it. Both the first and the second movements need lots and lots of reinforcement. Maybe some point soon I will go into this delicious waltz movement that's coming up. I'm just staring at it just as I stared at the second movement when I was finishing the first movement. I will see what happens later. Thanks for listening.